Play is about to get underway after lunch here on the second day of this LV Insurance Test match, and it's going to be Ollie Robinson to bowl the first ball of the afternoon session. 28 overs, 2 for 63, so he's gone at 2.25. Lots of empty seats around the ground. It's a great social occasion. Lords, I dare say there are quite a few queues as well with increased capacity, and people getting their lunch out the back and meeting up. It takes a while for everyone to find their seats again. And here is Robinson, and he's got Ishant Sharma in his sights, and Ishant plays a bit of French cricket there. We see that quite often from Ishant Sharma. He gets that bat in front of two pads that are quite close together, and it goes towards backward point, and there is no run. But one little bonus for England here is they have got Ishant Sharma on strike at the start of the over. So those close fielders, notionally saving one, Moeen, Jimmy Anderson, Mark Wood, Hamid at backward point, need to be just creeping in a bit, and actually they are closing in as Robinson moves into bowl to Ishant. It's full. He was looking for the very full ball on the pads there, but Ishant again got the bat out in front of the pad and played it out to Anderson, who's fielding mid-off, and there is no run. There are close catches as well, of course, 2 slips and 2 gullies. Fine leg in front of the Warner stand, but can Robinson here find the delivery to get rid of Ishant with a whole over, in theory, to bowl at him. You can see Anderson jumping up and down on the spot in mid-off, which suggests he's going to bowl the first over from the pavilion end after lunch. Robinson from the nursery end goes in and bowls to Ishant, and Ishant edges it, very well stopped by Burns, diving away to his left in the gully. That would have been 4 down towards the England dressing room. Thickish outside edge and went quickly. Burns diving away. Fine stop. The score stays at 3.46 for 7. I say 2 slips and 2 gullies. It's 2 slips and well, actually Bairstow's getting a bit closer to the second slip. There's 3 slips in the gully, and there's a bit of a gap between second and third. Robinson turns beneath us, and there's someone moving down at the nursery end. Pat Illingworth asked them to sit down, and here is Robinson moving in to bowl to Ishant Sharma. Again, Sharma gets the bat out there. They go for a quick single shot. The stumps, misses at the striker's end. Jadeja running to the danger end. Hamid was onto it. And those of you who are listening to our coverage at Trent Bridge will not be surprised to know that an England fielder has missed a run-out opportunity. There was a bit of hesitation there. Let's have a look from Sani. He was right back there, Ishant. They tried to run out Jadeja. Let's have a look. Hamid. Yeah, he'd have been well out if he'd hit. No chance at all, but it was quite wide. And so another one, I think it was 7 at Trent Bridge that England attempted, and they only managed to pull off one. Bairstow running out Erahani, but there was another great opportunity there for a run out. 3.47 for 7. So there are 2 balls left in the over. And what's Jadeja going to do here? There's no one out apart from fine leg, so his first ball after lunch, but there are the big shot options. Robinson goes in and bowls to Jadeja, and Jadeja hits that away, taps it away, but straight to backward point where it's stopped by Moeen Ali. And there is no run. So 1 ball left in the over, and then it looks as if it will be Anderson to Ishant, unless Jadeja can pick up a single here. He might be minded to go for the boundary as well. And what does Robinson do? Mark Ramprakash alongside me.
Very good afternoon, Simon.
What does he bowl here, Ramps?
Well,
Bouncer?
I think he's probably his strength is bowling accurately at the top of off stump.
Robinson goes in and bowls, and that's pretty much what he does. And Jadeja struck on the pad. Ball goes away into the offside, and he has kept Jadeja at that non-striker's end for the start of the next over. 3.47 for 7. Jadeja on 31, and Sharma with that single is off the mark.
It was a good over from Robinson, wasn't it? And he's set the tone very well for England. I mean, his current figures are 29 overs, 9 maidens, 2 for 64. I mean, he's been outstanding. And for Joe Root, he's given the captain control. And I think this is his 3rd test match, and he's played 2 at Lords. That's not bad, is it? I bet I wish he could play here every week, given his record here and how well he's bowled up from either end as well, which is quite unusual for a seamer to be able to bowl equally well at whether it's the pavilion end or the nursery end, and Robinson has done a very good job for his team in this match.
The other thing as well, it's so unusual to see a bowler playing in their third Test match to be a sort of inked in to the team, really. I mean, he just looks an automatic pick already.
Yeah, it's the manner of his run-up looks very controlled, his actions very grooved, repeatable, and he's been very consistent.
Here is Anderson bowling to Ishant Sharma, an away swinger up the slope. Ishant lets it go, and it's through to Butler. Of course, Anderson can lull you into that false sense of security, the ball going away, and then the one that comes back in, so you've got to be very watchful. No room for complacency. I'm sure there won't be from Ishant. Maximum concentration. Try to keep Anderson out. There are 4 saving a single, 2 on either side, as well as the 3 slips and a gully. Anderson bowls to Ishant, and there's the straight one. Ishant in behind it, playing defensively into the offside, and there's no run. Zoltz is with us. Ishant's batting. Zoltz, give us his batting pedigree. I did mention when I was on with Deep that innings he played, but I think they beat Australia by 1 wicket in that Test match where he was instrumental. I'm not sure he scored many runs, but it might have been with Latchman he was batting, and they put on a lot for either the 9th wicket or the 10th wicket. And he helped see them home. Here is Anderson bowling to him, and again he plays that French cricket. They're off for a quick single, run out chance, possibly Moeen throws. Ishant dives, the throw misses at the non-striker's end, and it's backed up by Curran. Well, Ishant had to get his skates on there. He put the dive in. Again, we'll have to check the replay to see whether a direct hit would have seen him on his way. No, I think he'd have got there. But nearly eating grass there, Ishant Sharma. Again, the throw wide, they're very wide in the stumps.
Oh, just Moeen Ali, I think a little bit on his heels at square cover, and just missing there. But Ishant Sharma got some long levers to get in with.
Anderson bowls to Jadeja, strikes him on the pad there. Pitched outside leg stump, hit him in line with the stumps, that's on leg stump, went away into the onside. Butler stepped forward to pick up, and there's no run. So 2 balls left in this over from Anderson.
Ishant Sharma overall averages 8.2, but it's quite hard to get out. It's just low strike rate, so on average about sort of 25-26 balls to get him out. That Test you mentioned back in 2010 in
it's a long time
Chandigarh.
ago, actually. That's in terms of sort of form and batting pedigree, 11 years ago now. Here is Anderson, goes in and bowls to Jadeja, plays it back down the pitch to Anderson. There's no run.
India chasing 216 to beat Australia. Were 124 for 8 when Ishant joined VVS Latchman, and they took the score to 205 before the 9th wicket fell, and then Latchman was 73 not out, and Ojha got India over the line.
How many did
Ishant 31 off 92 on that occasion.
Yeah, there we go. Right, field's coming up. I think Anderson was coming into bowl then. Hamid was still on the deep backward point boundary, in theory allowing a very easy single, but he's come up now. 2 men out on the leg side. Anderson bowls to Jadeja, comes down the pitch, wants a single, it's not there. Inside edge onto his pad, goes away into the offside, and Anderson has kept Jadeja again at the non-striker's end, so they're having a chance here to bowl at Ishant Sharma, but it's, in a way, it's not the most thrilling cricket. It's a very sort of cat and mouse cricket, almost sort of 1 and over cricket with an occasional boundary, but it gets quite dull if this happens from 7 down, because there's the prospect of happening 8 down and 9 down as well. Could go on a long time this afternoon.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, from a filding perspective, when you're stationing men out on the boundary for Jadeja to sort of block off that aggressive option early in the over, it's almost like you kind of lose a little bit of momentum, the fielding side. But I'm sure Robinson and Anderson will both be eyeing up the fact that there's a little bit of a tail to this Indian team. Robinson
bowls to Ishant, and Ishant is beaten there by an away swinger.
Well, I don't think Ishant should worry about missing that one. I think there's a lot better players that would have missed that delivery than him. It was an excellent delivery from Robinson again. as he's been so consistent. But you mentioned earlier about England's fielding. I mean, Rory Burns, we saw do a sharp stop at Gully. He used to be a wicketkeeper, of course, a very agile guy in the field. Hasib, that would have been out if he had hit directly. I mean, he's done quite well in the field, and he's got these shin pads on again because he's been doing short leg.
Robinson bowls on the leg stump. There's a good piece of fielding at square leg by Moeen, diving away to his right. Ishant, well, he might have got 4 for that. He definitely would have got at least 1 up towards the grandstand. Just losing his line fractionally there, Robinson. Perhaps just trying to get the ball over a bit straighter, and ball's on leg stump, and Ishant clipped it away. Moeen dived and stopped it.
It's good from Moeen. But there's been chat about England's slip fielding, and of course with coming and goings in the side, and also their outfielding and missed opportunities for run-outs.
Robinson bowls full. Ishant guides away. That's another good stop. Hamid diving away to his left this time, parries it, pushes it towards the slip cordon, and there's no run.
You just get the feeling that the fielders now on both sides of the wicket are alive to the game situation. Really important they try and get as many deliveries at Ishant as they can. So the people within the ring, so you've got Hamid at square cover, Jimmy Anderson's tight at wide, mid-off and mid-on is Mark Wood. He is also tight, and Moeen Ali at square leg. Those guys have got a really big job to do, just in case Ishant does get a push into the outfield.
Robinson wide of the crease, bowls to Ishant, and he squeezes that away off a thick outside edge down towards the tavern stand, and Ishant is coming back for 2 runs. He's feeling nice and confident. Well, that was the 5th ball of the over, the 4th ball of the over. And the 350's up. Ishant goes to 4. And there is some merit in Jadeja trusting Ishant Sharma.
Well, Steve Waugh used to do it with the Australian tailenders.
Yeah, and the longer he stays there, the more he sees it, the more confident he'll become, and he might squeeze out a few valuable runs as well. 350 for 7. Robinson bowls to Ishant. Short ball, gets out of the line of that. It's down the leg side. Steps out towards off stump and lifts the gloves high. And it flies through to Butler. They've turned the floodlights off now. Some high cloud around. We're expecting sunshine for this test match, I think, on Wednesday. Lovely day in London on Wednesday, but it's mainly cloud. And I think that's the forecast for the rest of the day. But at least it's dry. Sharma on 4. Waits for Robinson. Robinson bowls to him, and he goes right across his stumps there and takes this off his hip down towards fine leg. Easy single, but he decides not to take it for the final ball of the over. 350 for 7. So this cat and mouse game continues, despite the fact it's 7 down. We're in for one of those slowish passages of play.
Yeah, I mean, 119 overs gone. It's starting to hurt England now. And having a long time in the field, and yet this stage of the game is still hugely important. Although it may be slow and it may be cat and mouse, these are very important runs for India, and it's just frustrating for England being a fielder and obviously Joe Root as captain, if they start to sort of eke out a few more.
Anderson bowls to Jadeja, and Jadeja is nearly caught there in the gully, one that flies off the shoulder of the bat. He was looking to play that into the onside, got a leading edge, and Burns couldn't rush forward quickly enough and slightly to his left in the gully to take the catch. Yeah, that's the other thing. It wears the bowlers down. It gets, they have to get more overs in their legs. And the top order starting to think about batting, but when's that going to be? Jadeja settles over his bat. 350 for 7. Anderson into bowl to him. Guides that way into the offside to the right of Sibley at cover. England want bang, bang, bang after lunch and often get batting. They've got some work to do when that happens. India are very happy to keep them out there and just see where it takes them, really. Get up to 380, possibly 400. Day hasn't quite gone as they would have hoped. Losing those 2 early wickets this morning, 2 wickets in the first 7 balls of the day. And then another 2 wickets as well, close together, Pant and Shami out. Successive overs. Anderson bowls and Jadeja comes down the pitch there and then blocks it. A bit like Rishabh Pant looking to attack and realised it wasn't quite there. And he plays that away towards Sibley in the covers. But there's some freedom there for Jadeja. Play a few shots. And it looks as if he was minded to do so there. When Rishabh Pant came down the pitch, though, he normally follows through wherever the ball is. Jadeja changing his shot. Here is Anderson going into Jadeja, and Jadeja plays calmly from the crease this time, looking for the single. It's not there. Sibley comes in quickly from cover. So we're down to the last 2 balls of the over again. And Hamid comes up from deep backward point. Moeen stays at deep square leg. And Wood stays on the fine leg boundary. So they're just plugging a gap on the onside, so they've got 5 saving a single. I wonder if Jadeja's minded to play a big shot here with the field up. It's 31 not out. Anderson goes in to bowl to him. Doesn't need to. Anderson bowls one on his hip and he clips it out towards Moeen Ali at deep back with square leg. And Jadeja moves to 32. And India to 351 for 7. You can't get too greedy, I suppose. They bowled quite a lot of balls at Ishant Sharma since lunch.
I just wondered what the chat would have been in the Indian dressing room, and Jadeja is the key because he's batted in a very orthodox fashion. We've not really seen much aggression for him. Anderson's bowled a very straight line to him, not allowed him to get his hands through the ball outside off stump.
Last ball of the over goes into bowl to Ishant Sharma, and that's on Midland leg, and Ishant shaped to flick that away, but miscued it. I think he might have missed out there. Hit it up towards mid-on where it's picked up by Curran, and there is no run. It's the end of the over. That's Anderson's 27th over. Again, his figures are excellent. 27 overs, 7 maidens, 3 for 60. And if you do the combined figures of the opening bowlers and then the next 2, and there's quite a stark contrast there. 57 overs, 5 for 126, and
45 overs, 1 for 159.
Yeah.
It's often been the case that Broad and Anderson obviously bowl with a new ball. They earned the right, but they bowl at the best times as well. They set the tone brilliantly, and it's always been a challenge actually for the 3rd and 4th bowlers to sort of back them up because they don't necessarily bowl at the start of a session, etc.
Yeah. Robinson to Jadeja, wide of off stump across him. Jadeja ignores it, and it's through to Butler. So they get to bowl at the better time. So they get to bowl the new ball.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's easy to set the tone at the start of a day or a session, but batsmen tend to play a little bit more circumspect against the new ball, and then the more the match wears on, bowlers 3 and 4 bowl with an older ball, bowl perhaps when batters are in. It's a slightly different dynamic.
Don't bowl at the start of a session.
Well, it's always been the challenge for bowlers to try and displace Broad and Anderson.
Robinson to Jadeja, across him again. Nothing from Jadeja. Ignoring it, letting it go through to Butler.
And someone like Chris Wokes has been around a while, and he's tried to, I suppose, come out of the shadow of Broad and Anderson and their excellence for England. And I guess in a way it's either when Broad or Anderson is being rested or injured that another bowler gets that opportunity to step in, as Robinson has had in this game.
Yeah. Chris Wokes was man of the match the last time these 2 teams met here at Lord's. He made that 100, his only test 100 so far. Here's Jadeja propping forward to Robinson's delivery. It's right on target on middle and off, out towards cover. In fact, Wokes' record at Lord's is remarkable. I think it's better than anybody's in the games that he's played here.
And a test 100, I think.
Yeah, test 100.
At Lord's. Yeah.
And plenty of wickets as well. 351 for 7. Robinson back to his mark at the nursery end. 3 fielders out. Robinson bowls to Jadeja, right on target. Jadeja blocks it into the offside. We've reached the 4th ball of the over again. And so up they come. Moeen. And does Hamid come up, or are they going to take one of the slips out and leave Hamid back? Yeah, they're going to do exactly that. So plugging the gap on the onside, but just making sure Jadeja doesn't get a boundary as well.
Well, it leaves the option for the fast bowler to bang it in short, doesn't he? Get it up high, at head height, so it'd be a hard hook shot to control.
351 for 7. Robinson bowls, Jadeja comes down the pitch, and it's too tight really to manoeuvre powerfully away. He does hit it out towards mid-on, as excellent stop from Anderson, diving away to his right-hand side. And clever from Jadeja, trying to use the 5th ball of the over, but it wasn't quite there, so just checked his shot a bit. Didn't really go through with it, and perhaps just spoon it up in the air.
Wokes at Lord's 5 tests, 27 wickets, an average of 11.3, the best by anyone who's taken 10 or more wickets on this ground.
Yeah, I thought he was right up there. Robinson, last ball of the over, bowls almost a full toss, low full toss, almost Yorker length, and Jadeja, all he can do is dig it out into the offside. There is no run. It is the end of the over. Well, I thought it was going to be like that. We've had 20 minutes cricket, we've had 5 runs. And this battle within a battle goes on. 351 for 7. Sharma 4, Jadeja 32. More from you, Ramps, and then it will be Jonathan Agnew.
Well, England have been good since lunch, led by Anderson and Broad. They bowled very straight to Jadeja, not really giving him an opportunity to show a lot of aggression. But at the same time, Jadeja and the Indian tactics, I think they're aware that this first innings is so important, and if they can eke out some more runs and partnerships, they've still got Bumrah to come, who got a cameo 20-odd up at Trent Bridge and played a few shots. And so we've reached a stage in the game where both teams are sort of jockeying for position, as Mark Wood is reintroduced to the attack at the pavilion end.
Afternoon, Mark.
Afternoon.
Where are these 3 wickets going to come from, and how long are England going to be kept at bay here? Shami then, it's attacking field, the short leg and the leg gully, but Sharma is standing up and he's forcing Wood to pull out of his run. He wasn't ready.
I think Joe Root was just adjusting the field there, getting Ollie Robinson a bit closer, very close now at sort of wide mid-off, and Moeen Ali close at square cover. Is really important that they're tight on the single.
351 for 7. Sun trying to break out through the cloud as Wood is in, bounce it down the leg side, a flying half stop by Jos Buttler. He got a glove to it. Now, did Shami get anything on it? By the reaction of the bowler, did he get a glove?
First impressions was that there was something on that. Sharma has got right across his stumps to the short ball, trying to get over to the offside, and the ball was well directed by Wood. First ball into the body.
Would have been an absolutely spectacular take by Buttler. Well, hard to tell from that replay because he was shouldering arms, sort of going with the movement of the ball down that leg side, and Buttler diving away, parried it to his left. Wood in again, another bounce offended just wide of short leg, and they think about a single. He's out of his ground, and the throw misses from Hamid. He would have been run out. There was a chance, just stranded sort of mid-pitch. No real clear call whether there was a single. Jadeja at the other end. The two of them are now speaking furiously to each other. Chaos.
Well, not for the first time. Ishant Sharma wandering down the pitch, looking at Jadeja. Are you coming? Are you not? And good work from Hamid at short leg, just down to his right, and got the throw away quickly, but not quite accurately enough. But as so often happens with the lower order, you asked about where we're going to get the wicket from. Run out is a definite possibility.
It's a candidate. Wood in, again fending it once more into the ground just in front of Hamid. And that's where Ishant looks most uncomfortable. Just that, the way the ball rising into him, he's forced to play at it, fending it towards short leg. It's keeping Hamid interested, that's for sure. Two meeting again mid-pitch. 3 more balls to come in the over from Mark Wood.
I thought Jadeja would really take control of the situation there and call for both of them, really.
Get himself back on strike as well. Wood again wheels around in a wide circle at the end of his mark and rushes in towards Shami. Ball's now outside the off-the-more, side away, over backward points for 4. He absolutely threw the bat at a ball back of a length. He's a tall man, Stood up, the hands through, and that ball flying away. All the fielders up, of course. Long chase back for Moeen Ali to retrieve. He stepped away towards that leg side to create some room.
Yeah, it was quite clever cricket, wasn't it, from Sharma, actually. He's got it over to the off stump for the first 3 balls of the over. That one way outside leg stump. Short, managed to get a bit of room. And with the speed of Wood, that has flown over sort of gully area.
That's where the pace works to your advantage, isn't it? If you can get something on it, and he got a real hefty bit of bat on that one. He's on to 8, 3.55 for 7. Wood in again now to Sharma, fuller of length and past that leg stump through to Buttler, and big ooh and ahs from a number of the England fielders, hands on heads. They're not too far away from either Ishant following it or clipping the stumps. It was too quick for him there as he shaped to flick it through the vacant square leg region, but Mark Wood had his hands up to his face. He's built up his pace over the over from 87 miles an hour up to nearly 91 miles an hour, that delivery. Here he comes, last ball of this over. Sharma taps his bat against the ground. Wood is in there, getting down the leg side, close to getting something on it, to follow it, and whipped his bat high above his head. Taken by Buttler, 3.55 for 7, and India. What are you thinking, Mark?
Well, I was just looking at Mark Wood there. I think he had a real opportunity that over, and the last 2 balls of the over were down the leg side, and I think he will feel that if he could have hit a good length and accurately at the stumps, he would have had a very good chance. Sharma, I think, is a little bit concerned about the pace of Wood, and we've seen him moving around the crease quite a lot in that over. He didn't look very comfortable at all, so yeah, I think Mark Wood will feel maybe that's an opportunity missed.
And we saw Jadeja very deliberately protecting his partner from facing pace in the lead up to lunch. In that case, you're looking at a 20-minute period up until a break, but now you're at the start of an afternoon session. It's a little bit different again because there are runs that India want to build on here. Full, driven high and over mid-off's head by Jadeja. The ball rather plugs in the turf, and Mark Wood chases back. Jadeja comes back for the second. As the ball's thrown back into the middle and into the gloves of Jos Buttler. Ollie Robinson continuing from the nursery end of the ground.
Well, I think they've seen enough for sort of 20-25 minutes now, and Jadeja trying to up the ante. First ball of the over, and so often Pant seems to be aggressive at the first ball of the over, almost backing the bowler to sort of bowl a length ball, and he'll roughly know where it is. And Jadeja nowhere near middling that one, but up and over mid-off for 2.
It's deep square leg and fine leg back as Robinson is in. Fuller again and off, just pushed a little bit across Jadeja. He's on the drive, but only finds Sibley at short extra cover, who fields comfortably, and there's no run. Jadeja's 34 not out, and has the ability to entertain. We've seen the 50 celebration from him so many times, haven't we? Waving the bat like a sabre. Will he reach that landmark today? They've done a good job batting with the tail to get up to that marker. Another 15 for him if he can manage it. Will he have another hit out here? Will he have the chance? Robinson is in. That's straight. Just we worked off the pads through the vacant mid-wicket region. They're coming back for 2 here. Throw from Hamid into the bowler's end. Oh, is it clipped the stumps? It has, because Robinson has his hand in his air. He's obscuring my view of the stumps, but he just let the ball go. Now, has Sharma made it home? We're going to go upstairs and have a look at this. It was a long throw in from about 3/4 of the way back. Ollie Robinson just stood away from the stumps and let the ball from side on clip them. Oh, Sharma is home. That's a tremendous throw, him from the deep, sideways on, 1 stump to aim at.
Yeah, and so often run-out opportunities do happen when the ball goes out square into the deep. Now, Hasib got round very quickly there. Good, accurate throw from him. But Jadeja always seemed to want to. Ishant not quite sure, but he's got some big strides. He's a big man, and he managed to get home and get that long arm out, and the bat was grounded.
There's been times when Ishant hasn't looked sure about an awful lot of things. out there. It's Jadeja facing up again, and Robinson, bouncer, which he doesn't play up, allows it to go through to Butler, passes over his back. And reminds himself that Haseeb Hameed is out there at deep square leg. So just to be a little bit careful about the bouncer and whether and when he might opt to take it on. Moeen Ali, it's a no ball. The indication comes on the big screen and comes to the umpire via their watch, doesn't it? An electronic signal gets sent. So India tick up to 360 for 7, and the ball is bowled again here. Robinson is in full driven, but only as far as mid-off. Mark Wood is there to field, and no run. Jadeja 36 and Sharma on 8. Wickets that have fallen today. England had a wonderfully exhilarating start with 2 wickets in the first 7 balls of the day, which was just what they needed after a long day in the field yesterday. There was Robinson with the second ball of the day, and then the next over, Anderson's first ball to dismiss KL Rahul for 129 and Rahane for just 1. Robinson is in, falling in on the pads, quick single taken again, throw it down to the striker's end, misses, and Sharma is through. And there's a few dicey singles being taken. India feeling like it's a time to try and scurry some runs. And also, with the last ball of the over, Jadeja
it was
wants
a real
to strike
opportunity. Yeah, a real opportunity with the ball just going out onto the leg side. Johnny Bairstow this time at mid-wicket coming in had a lot of time to set himself. In the end, he was probably only 10 yards from the stumps, choosing to go over arm with a powerful throw and missed. And Ishant would have been out for all money. So a real opportunity there for England.
The contrast of Hameed with a long throw from the deep, hitting the stumps, Bairstow from much closer, missing. The pressures, 3 slips in a gully behind Sharma now, facing up to Robinson. Last ball of his over, and he steps across towards off stump, and he blocks back down the pitch and defends. Robinson kicks the ball away. A little bit of frustration for the England fast bowler, who's taken 2 for 72 so far, 361 for 7. And India, Jadeja 37 not out, and Sharma on 8. There's other wickets that have fallen. Virat Kohli was last night, so 6 and 7 was Rishabh Pant, who entertained, as he so often does, and played some attacking shots, but also was judicious with his defence, and then looking to cut, was caught behind by Butler off Mark Wood, and then Mohammad Shami just a couple of balls later was caught by Burns off Moeen. This was the 7th wicket to fall. What did you make of the way Pant batted today?
I enjoyed it. I certainly wanted to watch it. He's great fun, and I think India have worked with him in the last year, 18 months on trying to get the balance right between attack and defence.
James Anderson's coming on from the pavilion end outside the off stump to Jadeja. Forces it behind point, brings Hameed in from the boundary, opts against taking a single, moves out of his crease, prods at the ground.
I think that's what has been impressive from the Indian team, is those who are known for being excellent one-day players and short format players, how well they've adapted. And we're seeing here Jadeja 37 off 109 balls, and he's marshalling this Indian lower order and eking out runs. Very frustrating from England, but if India manage to get up to 400, they really feel that they're in the box seat here.
A huge total, having been asked to bat first in those conditions yesterday. Anderson was edged into the ground and in front of Burns in the gully. Finding the outside edge of Jadeja's bat.
It's the partnership now 25, just 2 and over, so 12 and a half overs, 3 run-out opportunities missed.
Yeah, those are the little moments, aren't they? Well, they're big moments when you're looking to bowl a side out. And the longer England are kept in the field, the more frustrating for them. Anderson turns at the end of his mark, and Jadeja facing up, 2 slips and the gully. Anderson in outside the off stump, meets this with the full face of the bat this time, and as far as short extra cover. Sibley fields, that's what he was trying to do the ball before, but the ball came off the outside edge of the bat, and he prods away at the pitch again in front of the crease. He's got a bright orange bat handle, the grip, and also similar very luminous orange flashes on his gloves, gleaming now that the sun's come out over Lords, and rather clashing with the red worn in the stands today for the Red Faruth Day. Crouches Jadeja, and Anderson is in, defending. A ball of a good length outside the off stump, and Sibley fields 361 for 7. India are Let's say good afternoon to Michael Vaughan again.
Good afternoon, Ellie. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, frustration for England, the fielding. Catches this week, but very similar to in Nottingham, not hitting with run-out chances. They've had 2 or 3.
Yep, 3 of them in the course of this partnership. Anderson in, flicked off the hip by Jadeja in the air only momentarily, and then fielded by a tumbling Bairstow at mid-wicket, and Jadeja goes through for the single off the second last ball of the over.
Yeah, you were mentioning Jadeja. I was mentioning in the first session about the fact he's got one of his horses. He's got a few horses back home in India. He's got one of them drawn on the back of his bat, right at the bottom. Yeah. Fantastic character, Jadeja. He's just. I get probably a bit excited when I see that kind of player play, because I just love players that play the all-round game.
Yeah.
He's brilliant in the field. He bowls natural left-arm spin, plays the situation really well with the bat in hand, whichever the format he's playing.
And brings wonderful personality with it. Anderson to Sharma, full, struck on the boot, given out! James Anderson gets Sharma. He's looking down the pitch towards Jadeja though, and he has reviewed it. Now, did he get across outside the line?
Well, he goes so far over to that off stump and outside that's why he's reviewed it straight away.
The original decision is out. It's a fair delivery. We could move on to front on spin vision, please.
Voice of Richard Kettleborough, the third umpire here.
Okay, it doesn't look like there's any bat involved. Can we just check that with Ultra Edge, please?
It's out to me, Ali.
Yes, looks to have struck him in front. And he's quite deep in the crease as well. Just checking
Ultra
there
Edge
was
coming through. Keep it rolling through, please. We've got a flat line as it goes through to the pad. No bat involved. We'll go to ball tracking when ready, please.
The pitch is outside off, comes back in.
Pitching outside off, impact as umpire's call, hitting the wickets. Going to go back to Michael on field. Michael, instead of your original decision, you're on camera now.
It is another wicket for James Anderson. India are 8 down. And boy, how relieved England were to have him fit at the start of this match. But it's the end of Ishant Sharma. England taking another step towards bowling India out.
Yeah, I mean, England have swapped and changed. Put Mark Wood on for a couple of overs, bowling short, sharp stuff. Josh Buttler dropped one behind, diving to his left, and then back to the old stalwart, the veteran, 39 years of age, and just getting movement, full of length, just getting the ball to seam, down the slope. Sharma really doesn't look to get forward. He plays French cricket. He goes right back on his stumps, tries to get his pads outside the line of off stump, and on that occasion just managed to hit him in line. So brilliant bowling again from Jimmy Anderson. That's 4, isn't it?
It is.
One away from another fifer. What's he had here, Andy? 5, 6, 7 fifers?
I think he's had 8. I'll just get it up for you.
I mean, it's only going to be injury, surely, that makes Jimmy Anderson stop playing Test cricket. I mean, when you just
play
keep
forever.
Obviously not forever, but when you just keep getting wickets.
Well,
he's 39, 40. What's 40 and 41? How different is that from 39?
Well, he'll keep going. That's for sure. He loves it, and that's the most important aspect. Loving the game, and he's athletic. He's so good in the field. I guess if he wasn't so good in the field, that would wear him down, because it's a long day in the field if you're not a natural fielder. Well, he's a natural fielder. I actually thought yesterday was the day where I watched and thought, well, they're going to miss Anderson and Broad. So obviously Broad wasn't playing, but Anderson yesterday was exceptional. And the other 3 seamers, Ollie Robinson did okay, got the key wicket at the end of the day, but I don't think it was the best of Ollie Robinson yesterday. And Curran and Wood didn't quite have great days, and almost exposed England's bowling attack of how much they're going to miss the likes of Anderson when he does go.
It's Robinson from the nursery end into Jadeja. Foolish delivery, defended to Sibley at cover. So Jasprit Bumrah has come out to join Shami. What have you got on Anderson then, Zol?
It was 6 fifers at Lords, the first of them 18 years ago on his debut against Zimbabwe. Also took 5 against India in 2007, 2011 and 2018 on this ground, as well as against New Zealand, and his best test figure 7 for 42 here against West Indies in 2017.
No, I'm sure you've met it, but what's the shirt? It's an ice hockey shirt, yeah? What's the team?
tell you in a moment. Robinson into Jadeja, past the outside edge, is prodded forward on that off stump. Not far away, taken by Butler.
Streatham Ice Hockey Club.
Streatham.
Get good crowds down there?
Oh, a few hundred.
Yeah.
I should come down sometime.
Are you a regular season ticket?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not season
Where do you
ticket,
sit in? Is it best to sit behind the
stand right by the glass?
Oh, do you?
Inches away from the action.
Pucks
Down the
coming
side or
towards
behind the...
Oh, behind the goal. Theatre of Dreams on the high road.
You basically just... You go for the... There always seems to be a punch-up.
Jadeja's on 38, facing up then to Robinson. Straight at that time, he defends outside to the bat into the ground, out to Gully.
Well, there are occasional punch-ups, but it's a game of incredible speed and skill.
What's the stewarding like?
Well, between the players, or like,
I was thinking crowd control.
well, I mean, it doesn't need too much.
Bit hard to get over the glass and onto the ice.
Not too many pitching
It used to be huge in
slippery business, wouldn't it? Invading that
Sheffield. Sheffield Steelers.
Yeah. Nottingham Panthers, local
Ron
derby.
Shudra, I think his name was a big star in Sheffield.
Robinson, right arm over to Jadeja. He's playing at that. It was aerial, it's safe, off the outside half of the bat. Played out to Moeen, is a deep backward point. Jogs through for one. Bring Bummer on strike.
Yeah, just looking at the second new ball, we're into the 45th over of it. It's a little bit of a warning sign that that ball that zipped past the edge of Jadeja's outside edge was one that moved, it seemed. So I do think if you bowl consistently on and around the off stump full of length on this kind of wicket, there is movement out there.
Well, 8 down when you're an opening batsman. You're already starting to think about how your innings is going to be negotiated. Well, not until you've got rid of Jadeja. Robinson's in, that one's swinging in late. And Bumrah taking a stride forward, keeps it out, defends into the offside.
I would think that possibly Dom Sibley's been thinking about batting from the minute that he arrived here at Lord's this week. He knows it's a big week for him. Rory Burns the same. He got a nice century here, didn't he, against New Zealand. So he's got recent memories of success at the home of cricket.
But it's not going to be easy. These clouds as well are sticking around. 3 slips and the gully. Bumrah awaits. Robinson is in. Oh, he took his eye off the ball then. He defended it. He sort of left his bat hanging in front of him. The ball took the outside edge into the ground and safe. It's the end of the over then. 363 for 8. India are. Jadeja on 39 and Bumrah the new batsman. So 4 wickets for James Anderson. Can he be the man to clean up the tail? He's going to be coming on from the pavilion end. Michael Vaughan, a few more words from you. And Simon Mann is coming in for commentary.
He is now. Jadeja will possibly take more risks now. He knows that Bumrah did nicely in the first test at Nottingham, but he's not renowned for hanging around too long. And then Siraj in at 11, again not renowned for hanging around too long. So I think Jadeja will try and capitalise now. They're going to keep mid-on and mid-off in on the 1, so there's an option there to go down the ground. Phil's just delivered a nice coffee. Thank you, Phil. Kind.
Here's Anderson bowling to Jadeja down the leg side. Jadeja tries to flick it away, misses. Through to Butler.
Afternoon, Simon.
Good afternoon, Michael.
You're in good spirits?
Yeah, definitely.
How's your eyesight these days? Are you pretty sharp?
Well, not too bad, I hope.
So
I'm watching the cricket without any glasses on.
Yeah, so you'd describe that shirt as red or maroon?
Well, the only thing I would say is that it is probably a bit more maroon, but the shop I bought it in, it was very dark. So when I got it outside, I thought, oh, it's not quite as red as I thought it was.
So there lies the answer to the question I asked. Yeah.
Well, it was dark inside the shop. Here's Anderson bowling to Jadeja, edge dropped. He looked to play a guided cut shot, and Burns could not cling on, or it could be a run out as well. The throw comes into the non-strikers, and it's all going off out there. But there's not the wicket. Burns, it would have been a good catch, but he got 2 hands to it. And Jimmy Anderson there saw a 5 slip away, perhaps momentarily.
Yeah, but Simon, we've got to be honest. I mean, this England Test match team is just the basics of the game just don't seem to be with them at the minute. Josh Butler's catch should have been taken down the leg side. Yes, it's difficult. We should take that catch. The run-out chance, Bairstow. 3 stumps to aim from. 12 yards, 10 yards? He should be hitting the stumps, and that catch should be taken.
Yeah, he was diving to his left. It would have looked a good catch if he'd taken it, but he did not hold on. 364 for 8. Jadeja goes to 40. Bumrah is on strike. Anderson bowls, and Bumrah pushes forward into the offside. Jadeja could be run out the non-strikers end. The throw misses again. Jadeja came down looking for the single. Curran picked it up, threw left-handed at the stumps, the non-strikers end. My hunch there was if he'd hit, that might well have been out. We're just seeing the replay now. Let's have a look. Oh, yes, I think he might have been, but it would have been a really close one.
I mean, Sam, we don't want to name brands, obviously, but what kind of close shots do you go in that the lights are off?
Well, I can't name brands, my God. I don't want to call them out. Well, they weren't out totally. It was just a bit of dark, just dark in there. Anderson bowls, or a good one to Bumrah, leans forward and plays a sort of half a shot at that. Nothing, any great conviction.
I'm right behind that ball, and the slope's going down towards the bottom end of the ground, and that's just seamed up the slope. That's again a little bit of a warning sign that there is movement out there.
And India have got those 4 pace bowlers as well, and they're all good, high quality. 364 for 8, including the man who's on strike at the moment. 3 slips in the gully. Anderson looking for his 5-fer, goes in and bowls to Bumrah, and Bumrah comes stabbing forward and gets a thick outside edge on that. It goes to Moeen Ali at backward point. We did enjoy Bumrah's batting in the last Test match at Trembridge. I'm not sure England enjoyed it very much.
Got his high score, didn't he?
Yeah, he swished away. One amazing shot for 6 out through deep square leg. Short leg coming in now. Hamid coming in from the onside, in close, putting the helmet on. Anderson's ready. Hamid's not quite ready. He is now. Settles down at forward short leg. Anderson bowls to Bumrah, and Bumrah gets a beauty. Is he caught behind? He is. And there's Anderson's 5-fer. Only delayed for a few minutes. It looked an excellent delivery. It might have got better player out than Bumrah. He's gone for naught. His 31st 5-wicket haul in his 164th Test match and his 7th at Lord's. What a fantastic bowler. Keeps on going, keeps on getting them out.
Yeah, I think the description is it's wasted on Bumrah. It was a beauty. It bounced, it just left him, went up the slope, turned him round, that right shoulder came in too soon, and Bumrah goes for naught. Jimmy Anderson has been magnificent against New Zealand. Wasn't at his best. He went away. I remember seeing clips of him a few days after that New Zealand series at Old Trafford, just trying to iron out what he felt was a technical fault that had come into his game. Had the cones out, the basics. And it's just such a lesson to anyone that's playing the game, that if the best in the business, one of the best of all time, has to go back to basics of alignment, it's worth everyone. Always focusing on the alignment of whether you're batting or bowling, what you do when you're at your best. Sometimes when you play cricket, you just keep playing, you get into bad habits because you're playing the game and you're forgetting actually to do the process of what you're trying to achieve. So that was a great lesson to everyone. Like if Jimmy Anderson's having to go away and just work on 1 or 2 aspects of the technical side that weren't quite right, it's worth many others that haven't quite got the ability of Jimmy to do even more so. 5 for Anderson, but I've just felt in the last 20 odd minutes we've seen deliveries, because we're right behind the bowler's arm, there is movement out there, and there's been wickets today, Simon. I don't like wickets days generally when England are about to bat.
Yeah, well, you'd far rather be in India's position, even though they have subsided today from 276 for 3 overnight to 364 for 9. England have done well today, but India did so well yesterday. That's the point. They got those runs in the bank. 364 on the board. Yeah,
they had such a really good first day that you feel that England can't really afford to lose many sessions from here. If they have one bad session from here, they'll lose the Test match. A really bad session.
Right, that was the last ball of the over. So Mark Wood is going to bowl to Jadeja, and the field is reasonably scattered. not everyone is out. Here is Wood bowling to Jadeja, swings this high in the air. He's going to be caught. He should be caught by Anderson. Coming in from mid-on, he takes the catch, and India are all out. Jadeja going for a big shot from the first ball of the over. Wood picks up a wicket, his second, and Jadeja is out for 40. And India have been dismissed for 364. They were 267 for 2 yesterday, so that's a good fight back by England. But the conditions are not too bad for bowling, and India have this powerful attack, and England's batting is a bit short on confidence. But England have done the first part of their job today very well indeed.
Yeah, we've just talked about India having such a good first day that England had to win today. They have to win it well to get back in the Test match. Well, they've done the first part. They've bowled India out for a score that they'll know that it's a decent one. But from the start of play, you were thinking of 450 plus for India, where you felt if they got that amount, it was just pretty much game over in terms of England even thinking about winning. Jimmy Anderson with a great ovation raises the ball to the stands. 364. England now can look at that kind of target. Right, first and foremost, get to somewhere near. Get India thinking in that third inning of the match that they can lose the game. Do not get bowled out for 200. You get bowled out for 200, 225, it's done. Just get somewhere near and ask India in that third innings of the match to play that tricky innings when you're not quite sure how to play it. And we've seen with the tail of India, they have got it in them to collapse. You look at Pujara, Rahane, 2 players at 3 and 5. They're in completely no form at all. Virat Kohli's not been in great form. It's been that opening partnership so far that's been the difference between the 2 batting units.
So when you say get close, how close do you mean?
Just get 300 will do.
300 will do.
I'll take 320. 300, just don't get bowled out cheap. Don't get, they bowled out 180 last week in the first innings, and we know with this England batting lineup that sometimes it's irrelevant what pitch they're playing on. It's just how the minds think, how they work. They're playing of the situation, reading the game, and this 4-man seam attack that India have. We know Bumrah's in fine form. He was outstanding in Nottingham. You got Shami, who was okay, but you know that he'll pitch the ball up and try and get it swinging. And I think in Siraj and Ishant Sharma, they've got 2 seamers that will bowl very well to left-handers. But also Siraj on a flattish, slowish wicket. He's the kind of bowler that I'd want in my attack. A bit like Merv Hughes. He'll be throwing the ball, create a bit of chaos. He'll probably chirp a bit, get into the batters' faces and space. I would much prefer to have the runs on the board, Simon. That's my honest truth.
Yeah, definitely. You'd rather be in India's position. 364, bank those, and prospect of batting last as well.
It's been a bit of Jadeja as well. We saw that ball that went past the outside edge. Moeen Ali to Jadeja, that would encourage India. We know that he's the kind of spinner that will at least be able to hold an end. And Virat be able to rotate the seamers from the other end. Fascinating. I always like days too, because generally you see both teams bat. We've seen India bat, they've got the score, and Jeffrey's old saying, well, you can't judge a pitch till you see both batting units bat on that surface. Well, we'll probably know. How many overs left today? 50 odd?
Well, there was 126.1 they were bowled out in, so that's 37 overs, 2 for change of innings. So we've still got
50 odd, 51.
Yeah.
Jimmy Anderson's final figures: 5 for 62 from 29 overs with 7 maidens. As you said, his 31st 5-wicket haul for England, his 7th on this ground. I think only Ian Botham has more here. He had 8, his 5th against India, and he's become the oldest seam bowler to take a fifer in Test cricket since Geoffrey Chubb of South Africa at Old Trafford in 1951, who was 40 years old.
What's he called? Geoffrey
Chubb.
Chubby. Geoffrey Chubb.
How old was he, sorry?
Chubb was 40 and 84 days. Anderson just passed his 39th birthday. Only one other bowler in the last 29 years older than Anderson has taken a fifer in Test cricket. That's the Sri Lankan left-arm spinner Rangana Herath. He's the oldest to take a fifer for England since Eddie Hemmings, off-spinner, in 1990. And unless you count SF Barnes as a seamer, and he was sort of a seamer and a spinner rolled into one, Anderson is the oldest seamer to take a fifer for England in Test cricket.
It's an incredible story, really. It really is, how he's just kept going, and not only kept going, but been a constant threat as well.
Yeah, and you can see the way that the opposing players play against him. They just try and see him off. They know that he's still the major threat. When the Duke ball's in Jimmy Anderson's hands, you've got every single aspect of your batting questioned. The technical side, the mental side. He's so difficult to face. He's just manoeuvring the ball either way on a perfect length. He's got that presence out there that probably puts a bit of fear in the opposing batting unit. He hasn't got the fear, I guess, of the pace anymore, but he's certainly got that kind of presence that you have to be on the top of your game to face him. That's why I thought yesterday it was a little bit glaring that the other seamers weren't quite at the races, and Jimmy was so good that it kind of exposed me to thinking, how we're going to go when Jimmy suddenly decides it is time to call it a day.
There's the 5-minute bell. We perhaps should just give you the details of the Indian innings, and they, not exactly collapsed today, but they have subsided. Remember, they were 267 for 2 at one stage yesterday, 276 for 3 overnight. Out today, Rahul, very early on, caught by Sibley at cover off Robinson for 129. Then Rahane was out to the first ball of the second over, caught Root-bowled Anderson for 1. Pant was caught Butler slashing at Wood for 37. Shami was caught Burns off Moeen Ali for 0, tame dismissal, tipping to mid-wicket. Ishant was LBW Anderson for 8. Bumrah got a beauty from Anderson, was caught behind for 0, and then Jadeja played that extravagant shot and lifted it to Anderson at mid-on off Wood for 40. So Anderson 27 overs, 7 maidens, 5 for 62. Robinson 33 overs, 10 maidens, 2 for 73. Curran 22 overs, 2 maidens, no wicket for 72. Wood 24.1, 2 maidens, 2 for 91, and Moeen Ali 18 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 53. So 364 all out, 165 to avoid being asked to follow on for England. And play will resume in 2 or 3 minutes' time. The Indians are out there doing their fielding drills, catching drills, and the bowlers are out bowling. You see Bumrah bowling at the moment on the square away to our right-hand side. The heavy roller is going up and down the pitch. And just a few moments ago, the sun came out as well. I think England wouldn't mind that. They're still quite cloudy, though. They wouldn't mind if someone could just part the clouds, if you like.
It got better yesterday, didn't it, as the day went on? The sun started to clear down. And you know what I think India will do? They'll try and bowl that full of length to hit off stump as many times as they possibly can, because I think we saw in England's bowling effort that there was the odd ball that kept a bit low as well, and over the course of the next few days it might be that low ball that becomes a real threat on this kind of wicket.
So India have got those 4 seamers. Would they prefer at this stage, having got those runs on the board and seen the pitch, to have Ashwin playing in place of one of those seamers?
Absolutely. I just can't believe they've not picked Ashwin. I just look at that World Test Championship final where they seem to have got all their DNA of thinking that they've got the formation wrong. It was nothing, they just batted badly. If they'd have got more runs, they'd have got something out of the final, I think we'd have seen Ashwin in this series. He got 4 wickets in that Test Championship final. So it is a surprise. They've got 4 good seamers, though.
Yeah, they have. I mean, the point is they can win it either way, can't they?
Yeah, and they're favourites from here. I think they're hot favourites from this position now. But England will know that they've just got to bat the day out, 50 odd overs, try and get, they'll get 150 runs. You'll feel they just can't lose 5 or 6 wickets today.
Right, we're about to find out what's going to happen. The umpires are out there, the Indian team in a circle at the far end, and we'll see the openers in just a moment. Here's Jonathan Agnew.
Yes, thank you, Simon. Well, that was a really interesting passage at play, wasn't it? 7 wickets falling. Simon's right, they didn't exactly collapse, but India certainly haven't got the runs they'd have wanted this morning when they turned up, hoping for at least 100 more than that, I'd have thought. So England have got themselves back in the game, but, well, the focus now absolutely on the openers, the top 3. It's the same old story, really, and the Indian fast bowlers who batted out there will have seen the ball still moving, still some bounce.
Yeah, and I think it's important, and we said it for such a long period of time, the top 3 have to stand up and get the team off to a start. You can't be expecting the England captain on the back of a brilliant week in Nottingham, preparation here, a day and a bit in the field, the fact that he won the toss and bowled, in my opinion, it was the decision at the time that most people would have made, but still that grates on the back of your mind. What the England captain now needs at number 4 is a little bit of time in that dressing room, bit of a breather. You can't be out there, it can't be 20 for 2.
Well, the two openers have walked out to bat about a pitch length apart, and Sibley gets there first, and he's lining up at the pavilion end, and Rory Burns now walks past him. They touch gloves, exchange a word or two, so both in their own little zone really there, I think, their own little bubble, a word we hear a lot of these days, but just working out for themselves what they were going to do. It's interesting that Sibley got there before anybody else and somehow knew that he was going to be at that end, so it wasn't a question of who's taking first ball. It was just perhaps they've chosen their ends, and whoever happened to bowl first, or which end first, that was it.
Looks like it's going to be Ishant Sharma to bowl from the pavilion end. He bowls really well to left hands. Again, he's going to come around the wicket.
Yeah.
He gets that angle to go away from the left-hander, so the slope will also help that. He got 6 for here in 2014, 7 for. So again, it's not recent times, but it's always nice to arrive at a venue where you've had success.
And he bowled from that end too, from memory.
Was it all the bound? Remember the England players getting
Lots of bounces.
The short theory, and they're all taking it on. And
it was quite a bizarre exhibition, really. He had very long hair in those days. It's had a bit of a cut now. So round the wicket with the slope, moving the ball away from Burns, who's trying to get the umpire's attention to check his guard. Umpire Goff says, yep, that's it, whatever it was. Looked like about a middle stump from here. And what's Kohli got? 4 slips. Or it might just space them out a little more, so it's really 3 in a gully. Backward point is very much the vogue these days, that offside fieldsman's behind square.
no short leg, Aggers.
No short leg. Well, they'll regret it. Here's the first ball then of England's innings. India with 364 on the board, and it's Ishant Sharma running in and bowling, and Rory Burns plays the first ball defensively. The ball runs away behind square and it's fielded in the gully. So that's the first ball. Didn't do very much, but Burns got bat on it. It was the main thing. On the leg side, there's a mid-on square leg, and man down here at fine leg, the Compton stand behind him.
I really enjoy Spider-Cam. Spider-Cam gets in and around.
Yeah.
Just gone behind the slip cord and gave us a great view of the slips.
Sharma around the wicket then bowls, and Burns just squares up rather, plays the very dead bat, and the ball rolls a couple of yards away into the offside, and there's no run.
This pitch is really slow, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So we've seen quicker wickets here at Lord's. I don't think it's going to be easy for India, and England should be looking down at the pitch and the way that it's played and fancying the chances of occupying the crease and getting a decent score. I don't see any gremlins out there. There's nothing.
One ball turned.
You wouldn't be too worried, would you? Just got to concentrate and try and work out your game plan.
Down go the slips. Sharma on his way again. Straight approach, big leap, and he bowls, and Burns feels for this a little bit. This draw a little wider there outside the off stump. Again fielded in the gully, and there's no run. Sharma, a tall man, walks back to his mark again. Experienced bowler for India, but he does have this knack of moving that ball away from the left-hander off the seam, and that'll be helped even more by the slope. Burns over his bat again. Sibley looks towards the skies there. Twiddle of the bat, and he's watching Sharma run past the umpire. Bowl, it's edged and caught. Is it carried? Didn't quite carry. To second slip. It did it all but. And Sharma there on his knees. Couldn't quite get his hands underneath it. Burns is lucky.
Well, it's the seam movement down the slope. Again, I think you'll see now that the slips will come forward, because that's a genuine snick.
Yep.
And on most pitches that flies to second slip around knee height. It went just in front of him, only by a yard or so, so I think the slips will have to go forward.
I think less than that, Mike. I think it was a foot almost. It was almost a half volley.
Yeah, they're going to have to get closer, Indian cordon.
Here's Sharma, and he bowls to Burns, who this time gets behind the ball, plays into the offside, and there's no run. Well, his heart would have been in his mouth there, because that all but got him out. Precisely as we described, angled in, that natural movement away, plus you throw the slope into it. Genuine edge.
You can see that
just landed in front of Sharma.
You can see the seam position from Sharma. It's going down the pitch with the seam angled towards around a third slip. It's always going to be going that way, away from the left-handers. The right-hander, it's going to be nipping back into you.
Here's Sharma, bowls to Burns, who tucks away into the leg side, going for a quick single. That's a good run. That's a good run. And we've talked about a lack of energy and positivity about England's opening the batting. Well, that's really good. Pushed away, quick single taken. And although it means that Burns will keep the strike and Sibley won't face the ball, even so, this is what some positive batting, and you can score singles positively.
It's not all about
it infuriates the bowler.
It's not all about crunching drives.
No, it's not.
Pull shots and cut shots. You'd like to have a few of those in your locker, but being busy, calling loud, really kind of forcing the fielders close to get closer. So then when you do drive, it goes past them, and you get a couple, or maybe you might even get a boundary or two.
So Bumrah will bowl the second over, and of course he absolutely did Rory Burns like a kipper at Trent Bridge in the first.
I had a kipper for breakfast.
Did you?
Yeah, lovely one. Yeah, on St John's Wood High Street.
Very good. Well, I think Burns, I don't know what you do is about, so whether you keep watching that ball to see if there's anything you could do about it, or you just say, I couldn't do anything about that, and don't watch it again.
Well, you actually look at his two dismissals that, I know different bowlers, but in the first innings he got LBW to a ball that came back, and in the second innings he got a beauty that went across him, and he was caught behind from Siraj. So I'm not too sure what he'll cover in this game.
No, there's 4 slips there. Bumrah's first ball goes swinging down the leg side, and Burns can't do anything with it, but it did swing a bit. Bumrah loosens up his upper torso there, swinging from side to side, walks quickly back to his mark. He's one of those fast bowlers who really does get on with it. Doesn't run very far. It takes him longer than most to cover the distance when he's running in, because he doesn't run in, apart from the last 3 or 4 strides. Change to the field. Kohli saw that ball swing, so there's a backward short leg now. I guess Burns just flicks one away off his pads casually in the air. Bumrah on his way, bowls. Oh, that comes swinging in. Kept rather low. Burns didn't play a shot at it.
Bit excited there, Jonathan.
I'd love to see the ball swing like that.
It's more the ball just almost rolled to Rishabh Pant. It didn't bounce. That for me, from what I've seen, is going to be the major threat for England over the next few days, is that element of low bounce that may come into this surface. There's nothing you can do about balls that keep low.
No.
You're almost better off with the balls that bounce. You've got more of a chance of surviving. Just changing his guard, I think, Rory Burns. He's gone a little bit more onto leg side, leg stump guard.
India made 364. England are 1 without loss. And in goes Bumrah. Bowls, that's the one that's pushed across him, but it started too wide. And Pant has to move across in front of the slips to gather that. And we'll see how Pant gets on behind the stumps here, because Lords can be tricky for a wicket-keeper. He hasn't kept here before.
Well, he had some advice yesterday, didn't he, before the match, when he joined the England cordon in a practice, just to try and get some advice from Paul Connorwood and the cordon.
It was hilarious. He just looks like someone who just absolutely loves playing cricket. Got his hands on his knees, now he's squatting as Bumrah moves in and bowls. Again, a ball that swings in, it's collected by Pant, and Kohli leaps up at slip, arms raised, looks around the field, looks at the sky, see what the clouds are doing, and it is cloudy still, so they don't look threatening though. There's 1 for no wicket. The crowd sitting absorbed, really. They know how important this passage of play is. Burns has faced every ball so far, waits, Bumrah moves in, bowls to another ball, swings, brushes the pad, Pant will pick it up, and umpire Illingworth signals a leg by, and that brings Sibley down to the business end for the first time with 1 ball to go in this over. And the ball is swinging, I'm sure Burns has reported that to him if he hasn't seen it himself.
It was LBW against New Zealand. Jameson from this end of the ball that hit his back leg, if I remember right. He just turned him around, and if Bumrah gets it right, it's the kind of delivery that you'll be trying to produce. Certainly going to target those pads early.
They will. Sibley's first ball then. In goes Bumrah, and he bowls to him a lovely outswinger, which he prods the bat at. Ball flashes past the edge and is collected by punt. So that's the end of Bumrah's over. He'll like what he saw there. He liked that ball swinging. 2 for no wicket. So England are 362 runs behind on an entertaining day.
Yeah, someone like Bumrah, because I watch him closely, and he very, very rarely gives you an easy one early. He doesn't give you a short wide one or a juicy leg stump half volley. It's pretty much always on and around that 4 stump line full of length. Do you play, don't you? When's the ball going to come back in? When's it going to go away? It's the consistency levels of Jasprit Bumrah are fantastic.
And it comes from such an unusual place too, doesn't it? That cocked wrist. Not many bowlers who bowl like that, if any. Burns is ready for Sharma, who almost had him out in the previous over. Up he comes again now and bowls to Burns, who tucks it away off his pads and come down to fine leg. Now Bumrah is fielding, and so Sharma will have his first look at Dom Sibley, or vice versa. Gardening first of all. Sibley's coming up, I think, having a chat with Burns. Is it swinging, might be saying? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm not surprised that they're going to put more of a leg side field because of the angle from Sharma to a right hander. It's going to be coming down the slope, so they've got a leg gully on the flick, square leg, probably 4 yards in front of square, and a mid-on. Mid-off will come in quite tight to Dom Sibley. I can't imagine that you need to be too deep, and cover point will be tight as well.
It's pouring away at the ground and checking his guard. A couple of times he checked it there. Umpire Goff says, yep, you've got it. So there's 3 slips. There is an extra man, as Michael said, a backward short leg there for the flick off the pad because of Sharma's angle. Here he comes over the wicket and bowls outside the off stump again. Barely carries to punt. It's very low. Sibley again checks his guard. He's got a touch of the Jonathan Trotts out there, raking away at the ground with his spikes. Sharma heads off into the distance. Sibley waits, and now he's over his bat once again. Tall man, right-handed, of course.
You can see Triscothick on that balcony there on the right hand side. Listen to a bit of commentary.
He's hit on the pad. That's that danger area. Just the head falls over. So there was no peel there from the Indians. That's what they'll be aiming at. Whip it through into that front pad, and he nicked it.
Well, I think he is a player, Sibley, that you want a short leg. You know, with particularly someone like Ishant Sharma, the right hand, the ball nipping back. You could see an inside edge balloon into short leg.
3 for no wicket, and then comes Sharma again. Past umpire Goff, a big leap, and he bowls wide of the off stump. Sibley has nothing to do with it. Just raises the bat. Now goes off for a stroll. No one talking to him. It's a lonely business. But umpire Goff is on Ishant Sharma's case up there about running down on the pitch. So I think that was just a friendly warning to start with. It's a little word about keeping off. Rory Burns was tapping the offending area, but you can't do that too often, and if you get official warnings, get 3, you're off. You can't bowl again for the rest of the innings. Tuffers, afternoon.
Afternoon, everyone. Exciting start. Swinging about a bit, isn't it?
It is swinging about a bit. Changed the field now. Another man across, so there's a short leg, square leg. In comes Sharma, and he bowls to Sibley, who's forward. The ball runs away into the leg side. It's fielded by Mohammed Shami. 3 for no wicket. Lots happening. Of course, highlights tonight on BBC Two. You can watch them anytime on the iPlayer at your leisure. But, lots happening today. Will it be featuring tonight, Tuffers, do you think?
I might have contributed.
Got a couple of wickets.
Yeah, I think I bowled quite nicely this morning,
Well
actually.
It might be my best figures at Lords as well. Sharma over the wicket. Bowls to Sibley, who drives him. Oh, that's a lovely shot from Dom Sibley. He's off the mark.
Sibbers.
And then an emphatic way too. He's driven it straight down the ground for 4.
Lovely. Got himself in the perfect position, swung in a bit and swung on to the middle of his on drive.
Well, it did. That's a very good shot.
Yeah, it is. That will make him feel a lot better. Under pressure, these two, aren't they?
Certainly. You can't get a much more positive start than that by driving the fast bowler for 4. But again, there's no follow through. It was just a block, really.
I don't think he can follow through because of the hands. Everything is a punch. I mean, it's very sort of measured. But from the way he holds the bat and the top hand and the bottom hand, it's very difficult to then, get a follow through in. But that's not his game.
No.
His game is to hang around and get this new ball hold.
So Kohli's fiddling with this field. I mean, so there's now 3 men in the leg side. There's only 2 slips and a gully, which I'm a bit surprised about. But the ball is swinging for Bumrah. He's now going to come round the wicket to Burns. So change of line for him as well.
Watch that front pad.
In goes Bumrah and bowls one that swings away. Bounced twice on the way through to punt, and it has kept pretty low in this innings so far.
Started dry, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was one of those tricky pitches when you win the toss. It looked a batting pitch. It looked dry. A little bit of grass on it. Didn't look like it was going to be quick and bouncy, but then with the cloud cover, Joe Root had to sort of take a bit of a gamble. But you might see Jadeja coming into it a little bit as this game progresses.
I think so. Mark outside Burns.
Yep.
Off stump there. Bumrah again. He's there and he bowls to Burns, who feels for this and then plays the ball carefully, which runs away behind square on the offside.
It's amazing, really. I was thinking about it last night. Playing cricket, there's lots of MCC manual and how you should go about it. Everyone is completely different, aren't they?
Yeah.
Everyone has their little idiosyncrasies and the way they look to leave the ball and play the ball.
And yet others are very classical. You can look at classical bowling actions and very unusual bowling actions like this one we're watching now.
Yeah, incredible. Works for him.
Burns dips at the knee, jerks his head outside the off stump. Burns plays no stroke. No, they're both. It's a touch of the sort of Herbert Lom about Inspector Dreyfus. Whenever the Pink Panther was mentioned, or Peter Sellers.
Oh,
whenever Clouseau was mentioned, Dreyfus had a bit of a fit, and it's a bit like watching these two batting.
Yes.
7 for no wicket.
The parallel bars.
Yes. Bumrah round the wicket, moves in, bowls, and that's on the pads, flicked away straight to the fielder at mid wicket. Great films those, weren't they?
Oh, brilliant.
My absolute favourites.
Yep.
I think they'll be on the quarantine list. If I have to do the 2 weeks, I think the whole set of the Pink Panther.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to start thinking about that.
I think he's going to be there.
My little jaunt round New Zealand. What's fantastic.
Oh, I must try and find that.
Yeah, me and Brendan McCullum.
Bumrah bowls very close to the off stump. There's no stroke from Burns. Look at all the slip fielders there, arms raised, holding their heads in their hands. That must have been very close. It didn't swing. Homing in on the off stump. Watching the replay of that, straight, but just past the bails.
Yeah, I suppose you're saying that's a good leave. Perhaps left that a bit on length as well. But as you said, it's not a lot of carry.
No.
So you're a brave man to leave on length.
Goes Bumrah again. Bowls wide of the off stump. There's no stroke. Taken by the keeper. So 7 for no wicket. Simon Mann, a very smart red shirt, is
burgundy, perhaps.
Yeah, there's been some different shades of red, haven't there?
Yes, your one.
Your shirt's a different.
No, your one.
Your shirt's a different shade of red.
Yes, but it's white.
It is.
But with a beautiful red tie.
You've got a very nice. You've been saved by the red tie.
Yeah. And the
the matching handkerchief in the pocket of the jacket, and yes, we know about the socks.
Anyway, I'll show you something as well.
Right, so they're embossed with made in 1966. You haven't been wearing them since then, have you?
What?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I was born then in 1966.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, well,
In comes Sharma, bowls outside the off stump. I thought, there's no stroke. I thought it was the socks that were made in 1966.
No.
You were made in 1966.
I was made in 1966.
Right.
A long time ago
We'll
now.
put your shoe back on if you don't mind.
Well, okay, sorry.
Now, this is getting serious down there for Ishant Sharma because umpire Goff's having his second conversation there, and I think that's going to be his last friendly one.
Yeah, puts you off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you don't like that as a bowler. You just start getting in your brain.
But he's got the slope again, which, again, from a bowling perspective, just takes you down onto that pitch. So you might have to bowl a little bit wider of the crease.
Yep.
Short leg for Sibley, 2 slips, gully's very fine. 7 for no wicket. In comes Sharma, bowls to Sibley, wide of the off stump. Sibley just takes the bat out of the way. It's nothing to do with it.
Puts you off your rhythm, doesn't it? When the umpire's in your thing, you're always talking to, you've got to get off, got to get off.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
But usually, the kind ones do give you a couple of friendly conversations. The not so kind ones just warn you straight away. And then it is in your mind. I mean, you can go the other end.
Well, yeah.
So you've got a friendlier umpire down there, but of course the warning still counts.
Yes.
So, it's not sort of warned from each end, but they all count. 7 for no wicket. Sibley's on 4. Here comes Sharma again. Bowls outside the off stump. It goes whistling through. Pant collects it.
Yeah, I don't know why that is actually. I think that's a bit harsh on the bowler. Well, if you've been warned that end because of slopes and hills and things like that, perhaps it should just be from.
Perhaps it should.
Yeah. Have a go the other end, and if you're all right the other end, that shouldn't count, perhaps.
But it's to stop scuffing up the pitch, basically.
The danger area.
So the spinners can have their
it's lovely. Yeah.
Can't get the spinners in the game, can we, Tuffy?
Well, occasionally. I think they might just be thinking to themselves, India, wouldn't mind having Ashwin lurking.
I think so too.
Yeah.
2 spinners.
Cool.
7 for no wicket. Sharma from the pavilion end bowls to Sibley. That's a bit closer to the off stump, but again doesn't get a shot from Sibley. He's very pleased with that leave. In fact, he did it again.
Well, I've come out batting on some pitches, and there wasn't a flat bit on them. But, the ball, it's a bit of a dark art, isn't it?
Oh, very.
Yeah.
Well, Jadeja did quite well in tapping the area with his bat. You might have seen when that one turned very sharply.
Yeah, he just knocked the corners off.
I was surprised the umpire let him get away with that.
And sort of setting off for a quick one, and then sorry, and then coming back.
Mind you, I think Shahid Afridi gets the gold medal for that. Here's Sharma bowling. Sibley plays across the pad.
Yeah.
Finds it on. If you remember, we were in Faisalabad, and a gas canister exploded on the boundary edge.
Wow, yeah.
And it was at a time when things were a bit dicey in Pakistan, certainly. And so people thought for a moment it was a bomb. It was a huge bang. And so the players all gathered in the middle. I was thinking, what's going on out here? And unnoticed, or at least unnoticed at the time, Shahid Afridi found a good length and did a magnificent Torval Dean pirouette.
Yes, it was.
Right on a length.
Yeah. Strictly come dancing.
It was. It was dressage. Right on a length.
Oh, what's that called in the dressage?
It's called pirouette.
Oh, it's called a pirouette.
You can have a passage pirouette. 7 for no wicket. And this is played off the front foot out towards short mid-wicket, and there's no runs. It's the end of the over. 7 for no wicket, and these two have survived 5 overs so far. They're still 3:57 behind. More from Tuffers and Andy, and then Simon Mann will resume commentary.
Yeah. Dicey times for these two, both under pressure, but they're handling it pretty well at the moment. Lovely straight dive by Dom Sibley off of Ishant Sharma. That will give him some confidence. But take a leaf out of the Indian openers, I think. These two left it beautifully, didn't they?
They did. Well, they batted magnificently. That was a fine shot from Sibley as well. About as good a shot as he's played in international cricket this summer.
Must have been another one somewhere.
Well, it was just such a good shot. I mean, I'm sure he has played other good shots, but that was, just above them a little bit.
Yeah, the on drive, very difficult shot to play. Hardest shot this side to play.
Do you like the on drive, Tuffers?
Well, no, I kind of found that one all right. It was the pull and hook, I found struggled with.
Here's Bumrah bowling to Burns, and Burns gets one that swings in. He just gets the bat down in time. Otherwise, there would have been a big shout for LBW there.
We were just saying off air, Simon, weren't we? He's got such that high bat lift and high hands. You usually, the school of thought is, you go in there, fast bowler, you just sort of take a little bit of the back lift off, so you can just get the ball, access the ball. You've got to be spot on to get that from thudding into your pad.
He played it to mid-wicket. There was no run. It's 7 for no wicket in reply to 364. Bumrah bowls to Burns, and Burns gets one on the pads. Nice. That time it swung in onto the pads of Burns. He clips it away down the slope towards deep back with square leg dive on the boundary, knocks it back in. Some relay fielding down there, and they come back for 3. It is noticeable how much slower this Lord's outfield is than usual because of all the rain. I mean, normally down the slope normally just goes to 4. You can't stop it, but
it looks very green, doesn't it? As you're right.
Yeah.
What it always is.
It is. It does look immaculate, but I think we saw a divot taken up yesterday, didn't we? And normally by this time of year it's dry enough for the ball to race away for 4, but we've had to have so much rain in London. Back from Nottingham where it was lashing down to London on Monday. It was lashing down in London.
I did enjoy your interview with Joe Root with the brolly up.
10 for no wicket. Sibley on 4. Here's Bumrah bowling, slides one past the outside edge. Sibley gropes forward. Well, that was the Saturday when he made the 100, and I was doing the interviews at the end for TV and radio combined at the far end of the ground, and we were waiting for Root to come out. Of course, it had been a dry day, and I could see this big cloud coming over the ground. I thought, uh-oh. And then just as he came out, it really was tap fully opened, lashing it down. I mean, we started the interview thinking it's just absurd. We were both laughing at each other almost.
Did you have a brolly?
Yeah, I did have one as well.
That was very funny.
Here is Bumrah. He bowls full. Sibley tries to drive through the offside and misses it. Goes past the outside edge, goes through low, through to the wicketkeeper. Part of the problem was because we have to be socially distanced. He has to be 2 metres away. We were sort of and the rain was lashing down onto the brollies. I could barely hear what he was saying, and he couldn't hear me. So really shouting at each other. So it must have sounded quite weird.
Well, it was a bit strange.
And then, of course, as soon as the interview finished, it stopped raining.
There you go, perfect. Timing's impeccable.
Sibley on 4. Looks up to see Bumrah approaching. And it's full. Sibley leans forward and plays it away towards backward point, and there's no run.
Fine start from Bumrah to Sibley. First 3 balls he bowled to him, he drew a play and miss. And through his career, Bumrah's been quite significantly better to right-handers than left-handers. Still very effective to left-handers. Averages 24.9 against left-handers, but 20.6 against right-handers in his illustrious career thus far.
You just get the feeling that he's done his homework on English pitches, don't you? He's just looked to bowl it a shade fuller.
He's a magnificent bowler. He bowls superbly at Trent Bridge.
Amazing.
Sibley looks up to see Bumrah approaching outside the off stump. Sibley lines that one up nicely. There's no run. It's the end of the over. 10 for no wicket. The other thing as well, I don't know if you noticed on the programme itself, the day's play finished in sunshine, and then they cut to the interview with Joe Root. So and then off the back of that, it was nice and dry and sunny again. So people watching it must have thought, that was a bit weird.
Is he interviewing him in the shower?
Exactly. Where did that come from? It was a weird one. I don't think I've ever done an interview in a situation like that. It was absolutely hosing it down.
Big drops. Well, it was very good. It was nice to hear Joe Root. He looked happy, didn't he?
He did. He talked about getting the joy back as well. The joy back in his batting. It'd been a tough summer. Everything going on. Robinson situation, Ben Stokes.
Well, I think
losing to New Zealand.
Yes, I think that sort of translated a little bit into that first bowling innings of England.
Here's Ishant round the wicket, bowls to Burns. Burns runs that away down to backward point, and there's no run.
That first day, it was a tough old first day, wasn't it? And there was a few chances. Nothing went England's way, beating the bat and everything. But they came out this morning, and it was like, well, okay, we've had a bit of a kick. We've got a new ball. Let's go again. And it just seemed a little bit of what a pleasure it is anyway, even though it was a bit joyless yesterday. Let's go out and give it another go. What would you rather be doing?
Exactly. Playing in front of 30,000 people at Lord's, what could be better?
There you
Not
go.
much in life.
No, exactly.
Ishant Sharma into Burns. Burns gets someone down the leg side, clips it away for 4. It's coming down fine. Past the dive of Pant and well to the left of Bumrah. And England up to 14 for no wicket. 350 runs behind. Burns to 9.
Was that a bit of bat?
Yep. 4 signal. Leg glance from Burns.
Oh yeah, nice.
Caught up with it.
Yeah.
Pant dived, but he was quite a long way from it, really.
Good dive.
Wearing his sunglasses on a overcast.
Yeah.
That's their light enhancers, I don't know.
No, they're not. The light enhancers are sort of orange, aren't
Right,
they?
okay. Ishant Sharma, tall and slim, goes in and bowls to Burns. Burns plays defensively, running it away into the offside behind square. No run.
If I was a wicketkeeper, I wouldn't wear sunglasses. Just asking for trouble, aren't you? Well, Jack Russell used to wear sunglasses, though.
Yeah, in places like Australia, mainly.
And Caribbean.
Yeah.
Where there was.
He used to wear them when he was batting, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, there's a certain logic in that. If it's really bright.
Yeah,
but not here.
Not today.
Not as overcast. No, you don't really need them today. Not if you've got a cap on. That takes away some of the glare. Ishant tries again. Bowls to Burns. Burns is quietly forward, playing towards cover, and there's no run.
That's what I noticed about that KL Rahul's innings as well. It was a very quiet innings.
Yeah.
It was just so methodical and sort of thought out, and just you see Burns, as you say, a little bit twitchy and a little bit this and a little bit that. It's quite difficult for him to play a quiet shot. But
so much movement before he plays the ball. I mean, he's in position once.
Yeah.
As the bowler's about to bowl, but
it works for him when it's all working. It works lovely.
Lots of quirky movements, looking out towards square leg. I mean, that's the oldest one, isn't it? The look out towards square leg. There it goes, and then bends at the knees. And Ishant bowls to him, and Burns plays defensively. It strikes him on the thigh pad, and then runs back towards the stumps, but it stops. And Burns was going to knock it away, and realised he didn't need to. He allowed Pujara to come in and pick up.
Well, I suppose you're sort of the way you play cricket and the way you bat and the way you bowl is an expression of your personality, isn't it? Or isn't it? I don't know. Perhaps he's a bit fidgety when he's sitting at home watching the telly.
Yeah, might be.
Yeah.
So someone like David Gower, for example, who was sort of lovely and languid. Is that David's real character?
Yeah, it is.
Well, the Agger said sometimes, he could blow his top.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's Ishant bowling to Burns, who pushes that away. Diving save by Pujara, tumbling away to his left-hand side. And there is no run. 14 for no wicket. We've had 7 overs of this England reply to India's 364.
Ishant Sharma, as we mentioned during the World Test Championship final, has had some of the most productive times of his Test career in recent years. Since the start of 2018, 80 wickets, averaged 20. He'd averaged over 40 in the previous 6 years of Test cricket. There's a curious record on this ground. We mentioned that 7-wicket haul he took in 2014. He's taken 12 wickets in all at Lord's. In the first innings, 1 for 300. In the second innings of matches, 11 for 133.
There you go.
That's something to give sort of a lift to England, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, they say that about your handwriting as well, don't they? It tells a lot about your
personality.
Yeah.
There's Bumrah beginning a new over to Sibley, and Sibley gets one down the leg side, and he gets the leading edge there. It goes back past the stumps on the offside of the pitch. He was looking to play that through square leg. Comes down the pitch to do some gardening. England relatively untroubled so far, but there is always going to be a ball that goes past the outside edge in these conditions, and Bumrah's got the ball to swing as well, so they clearly it's not a straightforward occupation opening the batting here today, or batting at all here today. 3 slips away. Bumrah bowls to Sibley, and Sibley offers him a full face. There's a nice solid looking defensive shot back up the pitch. Bumrah picks up and fields, and there's no run. So India losing their last 7 wickets for 88 today, and after lunch only adding a further 18 runs with those 4 numbers 10 and 11 or Are they 4 number 10s, or are they 4 number 11s, or are they 2 number 10s and 2 number 11s? I mean, it's sort of like that, really. Chamois in at 8. And then worked their way through. A 5 for Anderson, 5 for 62. Bumrah to Sibley. Sibley edges just short of third slip. And that's the second one that's gone short of the slip fielder. There was one off the bat of Burns earlier. It was a genuine edge, and it flashed away. But KL Rahul, it went low to him, and he caught it on the half volley. Simply a bit squared up by that one. 14 for no wicket. As we move towards tea on this second day, 25 minutes away from tea. And Bumrah looking for that breakthrough. Pitter-patter steps, and then the swing of the arm into bowl to Sibley, who edges again. This time along the ground again to KL Rahul. That one was a bit much shorter of him than the previous delivery. Sibley's head swiveled round. Where's that going? It did not go to hand, it went down. Deep Dasgupta back alongside me. Bumrah turns beneath us at the nursery end. He's got a short mid-wicket in for Sibley, as well as a forward square leg. And Bumrah past the umpire now, up to the stumps, goes in and bowls to Sibley, and Sibley turns it backward a square for a single. Chased back towards fine leg for the forward square leg fielder Pujara, and one more to the total. 15 for no wicket.
Simon, this is a chat we were having off air a while ago, isn't it? Tom Sibley is looking a lot more proactive today. I like the body language. He's more positive in his footwork, the way he's moving around, even in his stroke play. He's not like playing dead defense. He's looking to score runs, and that's always a good sign. And it's not the easiest thing to do when you're under pressure, to be mentally positive. And I think it's a good sign for him and England that he is looking the way he is right now.
He's 5 not out. Burns now takes strike. There's a deep backward square leg in for Burns, and Bumrah bowling round the wicket to him. Goes in now and bowls outside the off stump. Good carry through to Rishabh Pant, but Burns able to let it go. End of the over. That one 88 miles an hour from Bumrah. He's bowled 4 overs for 4, and England are 15 for no wicket. Yeah, there's been a sort of quiet assurance about England's start, but it's very early days. Not time to get carried away yet, England supporters, but there's been an assurance about this opening partnership so far.
I mean, as a player, that's what you need to be. I mean, it's the process, isn't it? In the end, what's going to happen, you can't control that. What you can control is your approach, how you're thinking about it. And what it seems like for Dom Sibley and Rory Burns, they seem to be in a good mind space. They seem to be in a positive mind space. And that's the reason, I know as cricketers we keep talking about the process, but end of the day, that's what you can control is the process, what you do, how you prepare yourself, how you're thinking. And as long as you can be positive about it, I think more often than not, the end result will be in your favour.
There's a short mid-on in now for Sibley, blocking the run of Burns at the non-striker's end, if you will. That's the line of the fielder. Here's Ishant over the wicket, bowls to Sibley. Sibley gets one outside the off stump. He leans forward and lets it go. Did you like opening the batting?
Yes, I did actually. I mean, a lot of people said, after keeping wickets, you're out there batting and all. But I actually kind of liked it because as a keeper, the bounce, pace of the pitch. Yeah, it could be taxing physically and at times mentally as well. But if you can cope with that workload, both mentally and physically, I think it tends to make things a little easy in terms of reading the pitch and everything else. So I found that actually helpful.
And it can often be a good place to bat in India. The top of the order before the spinners get going. Ishant bowls wide of off stump, nothing from Sibley.
Now this is what I've observed ever since he was kind of cautioned by the umpire. Obviously he has to go wide of the crease. That means his line, he's not bowling as straight as he would ideally want to. Would be really interesting how he copes with it, but because earlier on, it's obviously as a bowler, if you're getting closer to the stump, it's easier to bowl straight at the batsman. But ever since he's been cautioned, his line has been a little too wide outside off stump.
Yeah, it gets into a bowler's mind, that running on the pitch. Sometimes you see bowlers change ends to get away from the umpire that's mithering out there and telling you to get off. Now, changing the field. Now, Kohli's got 2 How are they? Close in, forward square legs. Really unorthodox fielding positions. 2 orthodox slips. Ishant bowls to Sibley outside the off stump. Again, nothing from Sibley. Happy to leave it. I mean, sometimes you might see one there, but there are 2 of them. They could almost reach out and touch each other.
Yeah, 2 shot mid-wicket, you want to call them. But obviously the plan is to attack him on the stumps, because obviously when you look at his technique, you, as a bowler and as an opposition, you see him as a good candidate for leg before wicket. And it seems that's what the plan is for Ishant Sharma. But only thing is, he hasn't bowled straight enough of late.
And there's still that short mid-on as well. So there's a half an umbrella on the offside, on the onside rather. Ishant bowls, Sibley is struck on the pad. There's a half a shout for LBW. It's almost noticeable when the bowler doesn't appeal. You get a pretty good indication of what there's not going to be given out. There's interest from behind, but nothing from the bowler. He just turned and walked back to his mark. Watery sunshine at Lord's, clouds quite high, big crowd in. Many of them wearing a red shirt or similar colour. You've got your red tie on.
You've got your red t-shirt on.
Well, or maroon.
Shade of red.
Yeah. Not the colour I thought when I went into the shop and came out after buying it. Here is a ball outside the off stump from Ishan, and Sibley lets it go, and it's through to Rishabh Pant. But yeah, spectators turned up today responding to Red for Ruth Day, in memory of Ruth Strauss, the wife of Sir Andrew Strauss. The Ruth Strauss Foundation trying to raise money for that today here at Lord's. And we got used to it in South Africa. They have a pink day there, and the same in Australia as well, at the Sydney Test match in memory of Jane McGrath, the wife of Glenn McGrath, who's worked with us many times on Test match special. 15 for no wicket. Ishant bowls, forward goes Sibley, plays it to that short mid-on fielder, and there is no run. It is the end of the over, so no joy so far for the Indian bowlers. We've got 20 minutes to go until tea. Alison Mitchell has appeared, so tea in the company of Alison and Deep. So a few more thoughts from you, Deep, and then Alison comes in.
Thank you, Simon. And yeah, it's been a watchful start and a good start so far for the English opening batters, but it seems to me that there needs to be a change in the bowling. Mohammad Shami, well, he didn't start the bowling with the new ball, but hopefully we'll get to see him sometime soon. Ishant's done all right, but he hasn't made the batter play as much as you would like him to. It's been a little outside off stump, even though the field's a little different. For Bumrah against Rory Burns, it's again 4 fielders on the onside. That's something that India has kind of been the game plan against both Rory Burns and Dom Sibley, is to attack the stumps a lot more, trying to get them out bowl or leg before, rather than getting them nicked in the slip region. As Alison joins me.
Hello, Deep. Afternoon, everybody. Here is Bumrah into Burns. Bumrah over the wicket. Burns behind it, deflecting off the outside edge of the bat into the ground and out towards the gully region where it's fielded, and no run. And the chance so far has been the edge, which did go quite fast and low, and ultimately just inches short of Sharma in the slips, but yeah, much more on the stumps from the Indian quicks.
There's a change of plan now. Bumrah's going over the wicket to Rory Burns. He was bowling round the wicket before this.
Burns looks down the pitch, cocks his head, and Bumrah is in. Still squared up, bringing that bat across the front of his body. Slices the ball out to the offside. It's picked up and there's no run.
That's the other thing that I've noticed of late. A lot of bowlers, as soon as they see a left-hander, they come round the wicket straight away. I mean, that's a comparatively newish game plan that the bowlers have got. Earlier on, plan A was always going over the wicket, and then plan B would be round the wicket.
Why do you think that particular shift, as Bumrah is in now over the wicket to the left-handed Burns, and he clips this off his hip, fraction behind square, finds the fielder and no run?
I believe, as far as someone like Bumrah is concerned, it makes sense, because his action, he goes, when he bowling over the wicket, he jumps away from the stumps and he's got an in-swinging action. Now, if you can imagine him with the same action going round the wicket, that would mean he gets closer to the stump, and then his action would take the ball away, right? And the way he bowls, if the slope can bring it back into Rory Burns, so that's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, that slope coming into play, doesn't it? Burns facing up, shoulders, arms, pushed across him outside that off stump through to Rishabh Pant.
Because if he's bowling over the wicket, then chances of him getting Rory Burns out leg before a ball is quite low.
Yeah.
Because chances are that the pitching would be outside leg stump, and obviously that rules out leg before. So the only option remaining would be to get him nicked in the slips, the angle. Then you're working with a natural angle.
Moves around the wicket, rather thinking it's coming into you, but it just straightens, or indeed moves away. But particularly with the slope, you think, well, is it moving up the slope? Coming forward, bat and pad, dribbling out into the offside, and no run.
Yeah, and someone like Bumrah's action obviously makes sense, but I wouldn't advise that for someone like Mohammad Shami, who anyways gets close to the stump, even if he's bowling over the wicket. So he's got more of a chance of pitching it in stumps and hitting the stumps. But for Bumrah to get someone, a left-hander out bowling over the wicket is quite low.
Bumrah at the end of his mark. Still cloud cover over Lords. England 15 without loss, replying to India's 364 all out. Burns defends into the onside to end the over. So he stays on 9. Sibley's faced 27 balls for his 5. England reaching 15. Anderson 5 for 62 early and getting his name on the honours board once again, the 7th time at Lords. What happens when the honours boards get full? I mean, it will happen at some point in time, won't it? We're going to have to extend them. I don't know what. Can't make the dressing room any bigger.
Just knock down the pavilion, build a bigger one.
Or maybe go digital then. Have a big, huge screen, and then you can scroll up.
Touch screen in the dressing room. That would be the way forward. Lords is modernising all the time, all the time. Well, they've already added one-day international boards in the dressing rooms, which particularly then means that women's internationals are featuring as well. Now I've got a fielder on the edge of the pitch, short straight mid-on, as Sibley's facing up to Sharma, who's continuing into his 6th over here, but he pushes it outside the off stump, and that's the line that you're talking about, Deep, where he's just not making the batsman play in any sense, pushing it that wide.
And what I can also see is Mohammad Shami warming up. It'll be interesting to see which end he chooses to bowl from.
What's your instinct? You think he would be the next change?
Definitely yes. Definitely yes. End. Yeah, I guess the nursery end, or maybe from Ishant's end as well. Last 2-3 overs, ever since, as I've mentioned before, he's been cautioned. Line hasn't been right for him.
Just under 15 minutes to go until tea. Sharma in now to Sibley's forward, and he defends. He's got catchers behind the bat. He's got catcher to short extra cover, short mid-wicket, conventional mid-wicket, and then as well the catcher on the edge of the pitch, getting in his eye line as well.
And I've seen Virat do this before as well, making double changes. So I won't be surprised if Mohammad Siraj comes from one end and Shami from the other.
The moment it's a tall figure of Ishant, who's played over 100 test matches, and I was saying earlier the fact he'd made his debut all the way back in 2007, played in the same side as VVS Laxman. Tells you how long he's been around. A leap at the crease, bouncer really dug it into the pitch, effort ball, but Sibley just leaves it well alone. A bit of a sway, it flew.
Yeah, Ishant's been around for ages, as you mentioned. I remember playing him way back in 2007, and this lanky, tall young kid running in. And my first reaction when I first played him, first ball rather, he hit me almost the handle of my bat, and I was like, whoa, who's this kid here? Because at that point in time, over the years, obviously lost a bit of pace and a little bit of bounce as well, but he used to get more bounce than any other bowler that I've faced. So yeah, but he's been used differently by different captains as well.
Runs in tall figure, long-limbed into Sibley. On a length, Sibley defends into the onside. Straight to the fielder, no run.
Yeah, Andy was talking about his numbers in the last few years, and when he was playing under MS Dhoni, he was used more as somebody who could give you 30 overs a day, who's more of a defensive option. Because unfortunately at that point in time, even though India had a lot of good bowlers, but they were all very injury prone. Starting from an R.P. Singh to a Zahir Khan to a Ashish Nehra, all of them were very injury prone. So I think Ashish Nehra, Zahir Khan, Ajit Agarkar together have only played one test match. So
Right.
somebody or the other was always injured.
Sibley facing up to Ishant. Played on the up, forced behind points. Sliding stop. Now Sibley wants a second. Oh, it's gonna be, won't be a run out, but Sibley was heading back for a second, and Burns was absolutely like there's no second run in there.
Especially when Jadeja's the fielder.
Yeah, take him on. Sibley came fully more than halfway down the pitch, and Burns was going nowhere. These two meet in the middle, thump gloves. Not sure was Jadeja completely alive to the situation. He was chasing back. But well, for the sudden excitement behind the stumps at the bowler's end, but I think Sibley then realised that no, he was going to be okay, because Jadeja didn't pick up in the smooth sliding one motion. In fact, even second grab he was a bit off balance, so Sibley had time to make it back okay. A little bit of a heart in mouth moment. 16 on the board then for England. Burns on 9. He's on strike now. 2 slips, bit of a gap to third, and then gully backward point, angled in but well wide of him, moving away by Ishant from around the wicket to end the over. 16 without loss, 348 behind.
But then going back to that Ishant's thing again, so MS Dhoni used him differently. Virat actually used him very, very differently, and also what happened in 2017, he was dropped from the one-day side. He was not in the one-day scheme of things, or rather white ball scheme of things. He even was not picked in the IPL auction, and he came and played county cricket, and I think that's when he realized, white ball cricket was not going to happen for him, so he started focusing a lot more on red ball cricket, and ever since he's been a different bowler. He was a tad bit on the shorter side before that. His length improved, his seam position, his wrist position improved, and Andy was mentioning about his numbers in the last couple of years. They've been phenomenal.
Well, there is a change. It is from the nursery end. Mohammed Shami in now to Sibley, and he's beaten past the outside edge. Wasn't far away. Sibley pressing forward defensively, and the ball skimming past the outside edge of his bat and through to Rishabh Pant. What a delivery. First up.
Mohammed Shami. I don't think anyone has a better seam position than him in international cricket right now. But he can be so temperamental. You actually don't know what you're going to get from him. So that's how Virat uses him. He uses him in short spells, 3-4 overs.
Sets off now past the umpire into Sibley again, straight on off stump, forcing him to play. And he's needed no warm-up deliveries, has he? He's been standing in the field for 11 overs, straight into the work.
Yeah, he's also known as second inning Shami, because his numbers in second innings are phenomenal. And I did ask him, I was like, why do you think are your numbers so good in second innings as compared to first? I mean, especially as a fast bowler, you would expect your first innings numbers to be better, especially playing in the subcontinent as much as he does.
Shami in now, movement away from Sibley but pitching outside the off stump, and it kept moving away down the slope. So what was his answer?
And he said, I like the challenge of bowling in the second innings. I was like, what do you mean by that? I was like, yeah, by first innings everyone's tired and whatever, and the ball's doing a lot, but in the second innings when the ball's not doing a lot, and that's where I find it more challenging, and I somehow happen to bowl better. Wow, so he can be. I mean, again, he's had his issues with injuries before as well. So
sort of suggesting that he bowls better when the chips are down and maybe conditions are against him. He's in now again, forcing Sibley to play, defending on the off stump, bang on target.
Yeah, he's again a great story, Mohammed Shami. He plays for my state, first class side Bengal, but he's actually not from Bengal. He's from a small town in Uttar Pradesh.
Quite a remote village, isn't it, the town?
Yeah. So he came over because in Calcutta we have a very robust league cricket, and it's professional as well. So a lot of people come from all over the country to play league cricket in Calcutta.
Shami sets off. He's got a bright yellow flannel poking out the back of his trousers. Sibley outside the off stump and forced to that shot. Angles it out to backward point, no run.
Yeah, and he came over to Calcutta, I think when he was 17 or something. His brother still plays for Bengal. He's playing for Bengal as we speak. And I mean, he was picked up by KKR in the IPL. Wasim Akram's huge fan of his bowling, and he kept saying, even though when he was not playing for Bengal, he wasn't playing first class cricket, he wasn't playing regularly for KKR, but he kept saying, watch out for this guy, he's going to be a wonderful bowler.
Shami rushes into Sibley outside the off stump. Sibley sees a chance to score through the offside, does. Forcing shot away through extra cover, comes back for 2, sliding stop in the deep from Siraj, and sends the ball back into the middle. It's a shot from Sibley to pick up 2 and move him on to 8. England 18 without loss and 346 behind at the end of that over. He's offered a fraction of width from Shami. Andy, what have you got for us?
Well, Mohammad Shami, to illustrate what Deep was saying, in first innings in Test cricket averages 31.6, in second innings 22.8. Another one of the Indian bowlers has improved in recent years. His first 20 Tests he averaged 34. Since then, in 33 Tests, averaging 23.7.
There we go. It was good to have things backed up by the numbers.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for backing me up. But with all this transition or this improvement in the Indian bowling stock, I think you've got to give credit to the team management. Virat as a captain, it was Anil Kumble and Ravi Shastri, whoever the head coach was, because they did realize that if India is going to go outside the country, outside the subcontinent and win test matches, it has to be the seam bowlers picking up 20 wickets. So
to win in Australia in particular.
Absolutely.
And how highly regarded is the Indian bowling coach, Bharat Arings? I'm hearing good things about him.
He's so good. He's technically extremely strong, and then as I was mentioning, won't be surprised to see a double change here. So it's Mohammad Siraj replacing Ishant Sharma now.
Yep, with 18 on the board. Siraj into the attack from the pavilion end. 3 slips and a gully as he's in, back of a length for swing and a miss, looking to pull. It's gone through to Rishabh Pant. Didn't make any contact, Rory Burns. He absolutely went for it. There was a square leg in place.
I'm not too sure whether Rory Burns' initial thought was to play that shot. I thought initially he wanted to kind of let it go, and then he decided on playing that shot. Didn't bounce as much as he was expecting.
I think he took Rishabh Pant a little bit by surprise.
That's been the other feature so far in this test match. It's been a little inconsistent as far as bounce is concerned.
Siraj rushing in, right arm over to Burns. So it's lobbed in the air just wide of mid-on. That really could have been a catch. Lobbed in the air. It was not where he was intending to play it. He shaped to pull. The ball wasn't as quickly onto the bat as he was expecting it to be.
True, he was too early into that shot, and also the angle, because Mohammad Siraj is bowling over the wickets, so he was also kind of playing that shot against the angle of the ball. It's very difficult to actually control a shot like that.
Short mid-wicket is stationed as Siraj is in again, pushed across him, beaten him. An eventful first few deliveries from Mohammad Siraj through to Rishabh Pant, who took it cleanly that time. He bowls with real gusto, doesn't he?
Oh yes, fiery character, Mohammad Siraj. Again, what a story. That's just amazing. If you look at most of these guys out there, the Indian team, I'm sure with everyone, some amazing stories. Mohammad Siraj from Hyderabad, no formal training, so to say, in his early years.
Burns flexes his knees, ducks, looks down the pitch, defends. Inside the off stump, coming forward, all angles away behind him, no run.
So Mohammad Siraj actually learned his cricket playing tennis ball. So if you see his action, he's got a quick arm action. That's what you see with a lot of bowlers who've started their career playing tennis ball cricket, because tennis ball being softer and lighter, you've got to have a quick arm action.
And would that be a tennis ball wrapped in tape?
No.
Different.
No, just normal tennis ball.
Siraj in now to Burns on middle and leg, defended into the onside this time, and no run.
Are they a bit hard? The tennis balls used for cricket, they're a bit harder than... Because I played a game with some Cricket Info colleagues in India a few years ago and got hit by one of these tennis balls, and it seemed a lot harder than the average tennis ball.
That's right. They're not the usual tennis ball that you play tennis with. They're like harder. And almost every cricket city, so to say, have a very robust tennis cricket circuit as well.
Last ball of Siraj's first over, defended by Burns, a high front elbow, dropping the ball into the offside, and no run. Well, there was an eventful 6 balls, and Burns not in control of one shot, lobbing what could have been a catch wide of mid-on, attempting a pull. Completely mistimed it and went through him, and Rishabh Pant couldn't take it cleanly. 20 runs on the board then, 344 behind. What has happened to T. Natarajan? Because he's somebody else who he sprung onto the scene in Australia, the story from net bowler to strike bowler, and he only started playing with a hard cricket ball when he was 20. Remember the story being around him on the Australian tour.
So what happened was he went with the Indian side to Australia as a net bowler, and then obviously because of all the other injuries was drafted in, and then he ended up playing a test match, the last one. Oh yeah.
New over for Shami here. It's likely to be the last over before tea. He's dropped the ball in his run-up. No, you don't see that too often. I think the Lord's crowd would be quite kind to him here. What do you think if that was at Edgbaston with England well on top? Even Virat Kohli can afford a little bit of a chuckle from slip.
Yeah.
He'll go again. So Natarajan, then what happened to him after the Australia tour?
Yeah, he got injured. He's got a knee injury. It's taking a little bit longer than expected.
Shami in again now, again full and fraction of movement away from Sibley down the slope and taken by the keeper.
So obviously, because of the injury, he missed out on the IPL as well. But what I've heard, he's recovering all right, because he's a really good white ball option. I'm not too sure whether he's ready for red ball cricket or not. He hasn't really played a lot of red ball domestic cricket either. But as far as especially T20 is concerned, it's definitely one bowler that you would want him in your side. I'm sure Virat would want him in the side for the World Cup.
Sibley faces up to Shami. Clipped off the pads behind the square leg umpire. Come back for a gentle second, fielded in the deep. And Shami straying a little too straight that time. The right arm over angle. Sibley into double figures then, 10 from 40. And these two have got just a few more, 4 more deliveries to negotiate until the tea break, and then they would have achieved job number 1, is get through to tea unscathed, and then just see how things unfold in the evening session. Still 38 overs left in the day. Shami in now, little dabbles, he's got the edge. They're asking the question outside the off stump. Well, it was not the most convincing appeal. Shami looked a little late to join it, and wondering about whether to review.
There seems to be a little bit of deviation. I don't know whether that's just normally or off the edge. Don't look confident. Even Rishabh doesn't look confident.
Well, Virat Kohli is known to let the DRS timer run down to 0.5 before calling for it. We're seeing a replay now. They haven't gone for the review, and I think that's probably right. Well, they're going to get the ultra edge on it. Virat Kohli will be looking up at the big screen if it's shown in the main ground. I'm not sure that it is, but nothing on ultra edge. A wise decision not to review.
So watching the replay, I saw Dom Sibley looking behind as well, and I remember a lot of ex-cricketers say as soon as you see the batter looking behind, you know that he's edged it, but it wasn't the case this time around.
Well, he's had a couple of near misses. Sibley been beaten a few times, he's still there. Shami in down the leg side, clipped away to fine leg by Sibley, and that was very simple for him to ease away for a single.
Is that something you can practice as a batsman? The guilty look to trick the opposition into reviewing it.
Maybe so.
You might end up inadvertently tricking the umpire into just giving you out.
But you always got the review. But just make sure you have the review then.
Quite. Game awareness.
Yeah, I mean, DRS has become such an important facet in the game now, isn't it? I mean, how you take them. I mean, I was talking to Rishabh and Parthiv and all. I was like, and they have proper protocols. Who's going to come in when?
I think the Australians, they were famously struggling with DRS. They ended up asking Nathan Lyon, fielding at point or square leg, to always help judge around the wicket from quite wide of the crease full to Burns. He's thinking about a single as the ball just drops almost dead by his feet. And slips come rushing forward. I guess Sibley rightly says no.
Nathan Lyon's all right, as long as you don't ask your coach sitting in the dressing room.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's got the best
well.
view. But I mean, Mitchell Stark famously has said he has no idea about LBWs. I mean, in the follow through, he's not really looking at the stumps. He has no sense of the height, and yeah, a lot of it very much guesswork. but their system, yes, was okay. Let's always refer to Nathan Lyon and get his view. Shami then, it's the last ball before tea, beating Burns outside the off stump and past the outside edge. Shami left with his hands on his hips. Burns instantly just turns and heads back towards the dressing room to go and have a cup of tea, bit of a breather. And Burns and Sibley have seen England through to the break, and in that sense they'll say, well, that's job done, we can go again. 14 overs with England 23 without loss and trailing by 341 then. Deep Dasgupta, what do you make of that Indian bowling effort and how the England openers have negotiated it?
Again, very disciplined from the English openers as well. Really disciplined in their approach, did well to kind of see through this session. Both Rory Burns and Dom Sibley, both of them on our 11. Both of them have played 42 deliveries. So yeah, I mean, very, very disciplined again. As far as Indian bowling is concerned, they've been good. So it's been a good session so far. And as far as England's concerned, really good session for England. I mean, picking up those Indian wickets and then making sure they don't lose any.
Yeah, absolutely. England in the day took 7 for 88 in order to bowl India out for 364, with Anderson taking 5 for 62. KL Rahul added only 2 to his overnight score. Rishabh Pant a brief flurry for 37. Jadeja frustrated England for a while to make 40. But yes, England bowling out India and then setting about in their first innings reply. So at tea, 23 without loss and 341 behind. And Bumrah's 5 overs only conceded 4 runs in that time as well. So he will be a challenge, no doubt, for England when they resume. And remember, Hasib Hamid is batting at number 3, getting his first chance for England since 2016.